Hello, students. I am JVN Nehal Mittal, and your topic for today is judicial and quasi judicial acts. So the rule is that there will be no action against a judge for any acts that he is done or the words that are spoken in his judicial capacity in a court of justice, and the exemption is not confined to judges of superior courts. So it is the necessity of judges being independent in the exercise of their office, that there is a reason which applies equally to all the judicial proceedings. But in order to establish these exemptions as regards proceeding in an inferior court, the judge must show that at the time of the alleged wrongdoing, some matter was before him in which he had jurisdiction, and the act complained of must be of a kind which he had power to do as a judge in that matter. So the judge is not liable in trespass for want of jurisdiction unless he knew or ought to have known of the defect, and it lies on the plaintiff in every such case to prove that fact. The conclusion formed by a judge acting judicially and in good faith on a matter of fact which is within his jurisdiction to determine cannot be disputed in an action against him for anything judicially done by him in the same cause upon the footing of that conclusion. So the allegations that the act complained of was done maliciously and corruptly, that words were spoken falsely and maliciously, or the like, will not serve to make an action of this kind maintainable against a judge either of a superior or of an inferior court. So there are two cases in which statute of an action does or did lie against a judge for misconduct in his office. This is if he refuses to grant a writ of habeas corpus in vacation time, and if he refuses to seal a bill of exceptions. The rule of immunity for judicial acts is applied not only to judges of the ordinary civil tribunals but to members of naval and military courts martial or courts of inquiry consisted in accordance with military law and uses. It is also applied to limited extent to arbitrators and to any person who is in position like an arbitrator as having been chosen by the agreement of parties to decide a matter that is or may be in difference between them. Such a person, if he acts honestly and is not liable for errors in judgment, he would be liable for a corrupt or partisan exercise of his office. But if he really does not use a judicial discretion, the rightness or completeness of his judgment cannot be brought into question for the purpose of making him personally liable. Quasi judicial acts. So, these quasi judicial functions are in many cases created or confirmed by Parliament. Such are the powers of the universities over their officers and graduates, and of colleges in the universities over their fellows and scholars, and of the General Council of Medical Education over registered medical practitioners. Often, the authority of quasi judicial body depends on an instrument of foundation, the provision of which are binding on all persons who accept benefits under it. Such are the cases of endowed schools and religious congregations and the private partnerships. Further, a quasi judicial authority may exist by the mere convention of a number of persons who have associated themselves for any lawful purpose and have entrusted powers of management and discipline to selected members. The committees of most clubs have, by the rules of club, some such authorities, or at any rate, an initiative in presenting matters of discipline before the whole body. The general rules as to quasi judicial powers of this class is that Persons exercising them are protected from civil liability if they observe the rules of natural justice and also the particular statutory or conventional rules, if any, which may prescribe their course of action. So, the rule of natural justice appear to mean for this purpose that a man is not to be removed from office or membership or otherwise dealt with to his disadvantages without having fair and sufficient notice of what is alleged against him, an opportunity of making his defense, and that the decision, whatever it is, must be arrived at in a good faith with a view to the common interest of the society or institution concerned. So it may be, however, that by the authority of Parliament, a governing or administrative body, or the majority of an association has power to remove a man from office or the like without anything in the nature of judicial proceedings and without showing any cause at all. Whether a particular authority is judicial or absolute must be determined by the terms of the particular instrument creating it. On the other hand, there may be question whether the duties of a particular office should be quasi-judicial or merely ministerial or judicial for some purposes and ministerial for others. It seems that at common law, the returning or presiding officer at a parliamentary or other election has a judicial discretion and does not commit a wrong if by an honest error of judgment he refuses to receive a vote, but now in most cases it will be found that such officers are under absolute statutory duties which they must perform at their peril. That's all. Thank you.